All right, guys. So for the guys that specifically and girls that specifically have a hard time using Fusion 360 and the different style and format of the tools and the features that if you find them harder to use, I've got good news. You can use Inventor to make your parts and import them into Fusion 360. So, with that being said, let's draw something up here and import it into Fusion 360 to use the CAM software. I want to make a phone mount here. So it's a little bit more complex of a part, but it'll be more, I'll show you more features than we did in the last video. So we're gonna do about 4 inches and 2 inches. Yeah, 2x4, perfect. And we're gonna extrude that. Oh, something to keep in mind whenever you are designing things is the length of your end mills. So like if I want to use this 1/8 inch end mill, I need to know how long it is. It's 1.5 inches long. So we can't do anything deeper than 1.5 inches. So let's keep that in mind and go ahead and extrude this. So we're gonna make it 1.25 thick. And we'll throw some fillets on there just for good measure. And now we're gonna make us a slot. Let's see how wide my phone is. So my phone is about 3.5 inches wide, about 1/2 inch deep, thick. So we can make this, let's see, 1.8. That's not what I wanted. Make a slot here. Doing this the hard way, but what I say, about 1/2 inch thick. Let's see. It's going to go over a little bit. So let's go back and make this a little shorter. Okay, so there's that. Let's go ahead and cut that down now. So there's where our phone's going to sit. And we're going to name this right quick CNC video 2. Hopefully that didn't hurt your ear. Okay, now in Fusion 360 that we have that file saved, what we're going to do is we're going to go to open. And Fusion really doesn't like you importing things, but they want you to keep everything in the cloud. But we're going to do it like this. And most of the time it works pretty well. Sometimes the orientation gets flipped around. I've tried to make this video 3 times now, so forgive me if I forget something. But here's this, and it actually did come in the right orientation this time. So what we're going to do here, we're in design, So if we needed to make any changes or anything, or put some text in here, or, you know, whatever we need to do, shorten this up, we can still do it just the same as you would. And if you drew the thing up in Fusion. But we want to go over to manufacture because we plan on milling this out. And we're going to make our setup, you know, choose our stock point right there. And so sure, you would have a fixed piece of wood, but for simplicity of this, we're just going to add a 1/2 inch to the side here. And we're going to select our machine. Our foot all is still here. And so everything else looks pretty good, looks good. We do want to see where this is in the stock. So is this sitting at the bottom? It is. We've got a little bit extra on the top, but the Fusion accounts that for us most of the time. Okay, so we've got our setup, we've got our machine picked out. Now we need a process, or an operation, I should say. So we're going to start out with a facing operation. I always like to start with a facing operation, just so I can see, you know, if it's going to screw something up, it's going to do something most likely at the beginning. So that's my reasoning behind that. We're going to go back with the 1/8 inch end mill. And you should use a larger end mill for that. Ideally, the same size as this slot, if you can get away with it. A little smaller would be fine. Now we're going to turn the feed rate up a little bit because we're not doing this out of aluminum. These feed rates are for aluminum. And okay, so stock contours. Do we want to do the whole stock, or do we just want to do this? Well, for a facing operation, we just want to do this edge. We don't want to do the whole piece of stock. We don't want to hog away all of it for that, unless we need the clearance for a tool holder. Okay, now passes, multiple depth. I mean, we're shaving off what? We're shaving off 0.04 of an inch, I believe. So not that big a deal. We don't need multiple depths here. Normally I always do multiple depths, but for in this case, we're not going to. Okay, so we have stock to leave is unchecked. Then feed rate looks okay. We should change this to 8,000 just to be on the safe side, not 80,000. Geometry, okay, let's try it. Sweet. So it faced this off for us. The new operation that we are testing out here is the 2D pocket. Okay. So now we want this pocket right here. That's what we want. We want to mill this out. Okay. Well, we still got our 1/8 inch end mill selected, our 2 flute. Feed rate stayed. That's good. Oh, I need to go back and check the heights on that last part. Okay. So stock contours doesn't really apply here. We're only getting this pocket. Then heights. Okay. So what did I say that was in the other file? How deep was this? 3/4 of an inch. Sweet. That's another handy thing for Fusion and Inventor. This might work too. Okay, yeah, that works. Anyway, so we want to make sure that that slot is 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. I don't trust the selected contour thing. You might, it might work fine for you. It's tricked me in the past. So like, I always like to go up. Oh no, I need to do that from the top. Model top. And we need to do -3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that puts us in the right place there. That's the model top, not the stock top. Remember, the stock is 0.04 above this from our setup that we did here. So everything else is good. It's not red. It's not mad at us. We'll click around, make sure it's not going to change. Now, we don't want stock to leave. See, it checked it there. It's always trying to get you at that. So tolerance, you can leave it alone. Finishing passes, you know, this is just a phone holder. We're not splitting atoms here. Step over. This is important. So when we talk about step over, this is your end mill, right? This is 0.125 or 1/8 inch. So step over should be around 60% of your end mill is what I've normally done. So with that being said, for wood and stuff, I've just done 0.1 of the end mill, which would be about like that. So you're only using this much of the end mill, this side here, to cut with. So that helps in keeping your end mill cool and not wearing it out and stuff. So that's what that's for. You step over. This step over is a little much. It would probably work for what we're doing, but we want good practices here. So let me get my mouse back, and we're going to change this to 0.1. Okay, and it might give us a little. Oh yeah, there it is. Gives us a little picture for it. That also determines your load that's on the spindle and the end mill, all that good stuff. So we definitely want multiple depths because this is an 1/8 inch end mill and this is I think 0.6 across. So that's a pretty big cut. So we're going to want to do multiple depths, and we're going to do 0.08. So almost 1/10 of an inch down. Nothing crazy. Could we go more? Yeah. This is just conservative. Then all this is okay. We should leave that alone unless we just have problems. Do our heights look good? Okay, it looks pretty good to me. We're starting at the stock top, so that's pretty good. So let's go up a little bit higher than what's usually. Let it float in the air and find the stock, So we're going to go up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, that should be happy now. Okay, so it milled out our pocket now. Let's go ahead and change the height on this one since I forgot to earlier. And stock top, we're going to go 0.08. I keep doing, okay. Keep doing that. 0.3. Okay, so we're good there. Show us this. Let's select both of these and hit simulate. See what it looks like so far. We're going to slow this down a little bit. Statistics, 32 minutes for all of this. That's not too bad. Just watch it. Okay. Nothing looked funny. Now we got to cut the outside of this. So if we keep the same theme of what we've been doing, we'll want to do a 2D contour so we can have our tabs and all that good stuff. I'm going to pick this bottom selection. We do want tabs. Yeah, those tabs look pretty good. Could be a little thicker. So, and of course, this is how you change the height of your tabs. So you see how tall they are right now. If I wanted them a little bit taller, there we go. I feel better about that. Gonna make sure 1/8 inch end mill is still here. Feeds, speeds are still there. Got tabs. Okay. We don't really care about machining the entire piece of stock. We just want our part cut out of it. We don't need the clearance because our end mill's, I think, 1.5 inches long, maybe. Yeah, I think that's what we said earlier. So we definitely do want multiple depths stock to leave. I can't stress this enough. This will make your part, it'll make your holes too small and the outsides of your part too big. So we don't want this unless you're doing multiple operations where you're roughing and then cleaning up. So if you're going really, really fast and you didn't care that much about precision, but then you needed to make that hole precise afterwards, then you come in with a smaller end mill or with another operation and clean up whatever you left off here. So roughing passes, those are cool. We're probably just going to be doing this out of wood is the assumption. So do 0.08. And like I said before, all my feeds and speeds are for aluminum. So keep that in mind. These are conservative for wood or plastic. So all that looks good. Let's check our heights. Oh, and to Infusion, if you'll hold shift and the scroll wheel down, it'll let you orbit. That's a quick tip for you if you didn't know. Okay, so now our bottom height is selected contours. Again, I don't trust that, so we're gonna go model bottom. And that's good. Top height, stock top, that's great. We want a little bit more just to give it a chance if we mess something up. Give us a chance to stop the machine before it ruins our stock or breaks an end mill or something. Okay, everything's still there. We have our tabs. Let's hit okay. All right, our tabs are there. Let's go ahead and simulate this. Okay, so I'll slow it down a little bit. Okay, this is a spiral and this is ramping, if I haven't showed you guys in the past. So right now, see, it's doing our invisible pass, not our invisible pass, but it's not cutting anything right now. It's on a ghost pass, scratch pass, whatever you want to call it. And now we're getting into our cut, doing our pocket. You see how it's just taking it little by little. Okay, see that's our step over. It's using most of it, about 60%. And just not the whole thing though. It's got to have somewhere to throw the chips. It's, you know, it's better not to have the whole end mill stuck in there. But on these first passes, you don't have that liberty. If you see these red lines down here, it says shaft collides with stock. You know, that's where, okay, so the flutes are only a ½ inch long on this end mill. So the flutes are your cutting face and the rest of it's just a cylinder, so it's round. So that's what that means. And you shouldn't really worry about that much. With plastic or wood, it's not going to hurt anything. It might mess with your surface finish a little bit, but like I said, we're not splitting atoms here. In a perfect world, I would have a longer end mill. So we're not going to sit here and watch it do all this stuff. We want to see the contour. You see, this is where it ramps in. Get you a better view here. It's just going to go and go and go. I like to see it cut the tabs. And if we look from the bottom here, looks pretty good. Okay, so again, from here, we want to go to, I'm going to select all of them this time. We're going to go to NC program. We're on the Fadal. That's great. Operations, all three are selected. That's what we like to see. If you, I mean, you got to check this part. I can't stress this enough either. If you miss one of these, it's like if I miss, say I had this contour operation first. Well, in certain cases, you can break end mills because it thinks it's okay to machine this depth when it hasn't actually already been cut yet because you left an operation out. So we're good there. Let's go ahead and hit post process. It's going to ask us what to save it. Just do that. And then we want to come over here, view NC code. It's going to take you to a notepad or Visual Studio Code. I like Visual Studio Code. Your numbers won't be highlighted like this. This is a plugin, but it makes it really easy to go through here and read all this stuff. So yours will all be one color. If you're interested in this, I can show you how to put this in, but most likely you won't be looking at the code that hard because I don't see any of you going through 900 lines of code. Okay, but then you'll take this and you'll load it on the CNC machine. You'll find your 0, which will be this corner over here on the stock, and you'll go to town. So yeah, I've got one more video for you guys, and I'm going to show you how to do all of this almost in one step, and it's going to make your life a lot easier.